Welcome to the video. Today we will unpack the hidden anxiety many lawful permanent residents feel when returning to the United States after a short international trip. To transition into the topic, I will frame what the law says, how CBP operates in practice, and how you can prepare a simple defense kit to feel confident. By the end, you will understand what scrutiny means, what secondary inspection is, why it happens, and how to respond calmly and effectively. First, we will outline your legal rights as a lawful permanent resident. Next, we will discuss how political climate may lead to scrutiny even when the law is clear. Then, we will demystify secondary inspection and explain what to expect. After that, we will build a practical CBP defense kit. We will also address transit through third countries, clarify myths versus facts, test your knowledge with quick quizzes, and finally summarize key takeaways and next steps. Before we dive in, a brief but important disclaimer. This video is for general educational purposes only and does not create an attorney-client relationship. Immigration cases can be very fact-specific. If you have prior removals, criminal history, extended absences, or unusual travel patterns, consult a qualified immigration attorney for personalized advice. To begin, understand that as a lawful permanent resident, you have the right to travel and return to the United States. A 12-day international vacation is considered a temporary absence and does not constitute abandonment of your status. At the border, CBP's primary goal is to confirm that you have not abandoned U.S. residence. With short, ordinary travel and ongoing ties to the United States, such as employment, housing, and taxes, the legal risk to your status is very low. The flowchart illustrates the typical process. You arrive, go through primary inspection, and are usually admitted. Occasionally, you may be referred to secondary inspection, where identity and documents are verified. That process often ends with admission, unless uncommon issues arise. Next, let's acknowledge the tension many new LPRs feel. Legally, your rights are clear. Practically, CBP officers have broad discretion in how they question or screen travelers. In certain political climates, LPRs from particular regions may experience deeper questioning. This does not mean denial. It usually means biographical and travel history review. Keep in mind that questioning does not equate to a finding of abandonment. Moving forward, it helps to understand why scrutiny occurs. CBP officers are tasked with confirming that an LPR maintains continuous residence in the United States. Short trips generally do not raise abandonment concerns. However, travel history through sensitive regions can prompt additional, but typically non-confrontational, questions. Importantly, questioning does not mean denial. It is commonly a routine verification step to reconcile data in their systems. Now let's visualize how time outside the United States affects perception. The timeline starts with a short vacation of 1 to 3 weeks, which is very low risk and normally considered a temporary absence. As absences approach 6 months, CBP may ask more detailed questions. Between 6 and 12 months, you should expect significant scrutiny and be prepared with robust evidence of continuing U.S. residence. Beyond 12 months, there is a high risk of an abandonment presumption, and a re-entry permit is typically expected. The key takeaway is that a 12-day trip falls squarely within the very low-risk zone. Continuing on, let's dispel some myths. First, a short trip does not jeopardize your green card. Second, simply transiting through a politically sensitive country does not automatically harm your status. At most, it may draw some additional questions. Third, being sent to secondary inspection does not mean wrongdoing. It is often a standard verification step. Finally, you are not obligated to sign Form I-407. Do not sign under pressure if you intend to keep your lawful permanent resident status. Next, let's clarify secondary inspection. Secondary is a space where CBP performs deeper verification. It is not a punishment or a formal accusation. You can expect identity confirmation, document review, and questions about your travel history. The most effective approach is to remain calm and provide concise, truthful answers. If anyone raises Form I-407, you may decline to sign, ask to speak with a supervisor, and reiterate that you intend to maintain U.S. residence. Now, let's build your defense kit so you feel prepared, even if you never need to show anything. First, collect pay stubs for the last 2 to 3 months, and consider an employment verification letter. Second, include proof of U.S. residence, such as a lease, mortgage, deed, or a recent utility bill. Third, add proof of tax compliance, like your latest federal return with a W-2 or 1099. Fourth, keep a short list of U.S. family or emergency contacts and your return itinerary. Finally, organize these items in a clearly labeled folder and store secure digital copies on your phone in case you prefer not to hand over originals. Quick knowledge check. The question is, a 12-day international vacation for an LPR is best categorized as which of the following? Option A, evidence of abandoning residence. Option B, a temporary absence with very low risk. Option C, grounds for mandatory secondary inspection. Option D, a travel pattern that requires an I-407. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is B, a temporary absence with very low risk. Short trips such as a 12-day vacation are clearly within the bounds of normal travel for lawful permanent residents and are not considered abandonment. Shifting gears, let's address transit. Generally, transit through a third country does not affect your status as an LPR. However, passing through certain high-interest locations may lead to routine questions about the nature of your transit. Keep your transit brief, avoid activities that resemble residence abroad, and retain documentation of your itinerary. If asked, explain clearly that you did not enter the country for tourism and were only in transit. To make this practical, here is a concise checklist. Before you leave, assemble recent pay stubs and an employment letter, proof of housing like a lease or mortgage and a utility bill, your latest federal tax return, a list of U.S. contacts with your return itinerary, and organize everything in a labeled folder with digital copies. At re-entry, have your passport and green card ready. Answer questions calmly and concisely. Offer documents only if requested. Remain patient if sent to secondary, and decline to sign Form I-407 if presented while requesting a supervisor. Second knowledge check. The question is, if CBP presents Form I-407 during a short trip reentry and you intend to keep your LPR status, what is the safest immediate response? Option A, sign it to finish quickly. Option B, refuse to sign, state you intend to maintain residence, and ask for a supervisor. Option C, leave the airport and come back later. Option D, agree to withdraw your application for admission. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is B. If you intend to keep your LPR status, do not sign Form I-407 under pressure. Clearly state that you intend to maintain U.S. residence and request a supervisor. If you have counsel, you can request to contact them. This approach preserves your rights and avoids unintended consequences. To add perspective, this pie chart is illustrative and not based on official statistics. It shows that the vast majority of reentries are smooth through primary inspection. A meaningful minority are routed to secondary inspection for routine verification, and a very small percentage involve complex review. Your preparation increases the likelihood of an efficient experience. As we wrap up, remember these key points. A 12-day trip is a temporary absence and does not indicate abandonment. Secondary inspection is verification, not an accusation. Transit through sensitive regions may prompt questions, but typically does not cause problems on its own. Carrying a simple defense kit can reduce anxiety and help resolve questions quickly. Never sign an I-407 under pressure. Ask for a supervisor. Finally, if your history is complex, seek advice from a qualified immigration attorney. In conclusion, you have the tools to manage re-entry with confidence. Know your rights, anticipate the normal process, and prepare your defense kit. Short trips with strong U.S. ties are overwhelmingly safe. Confidence comes from preparation and clarity. Before you go, consider supporting the channel so more LPRs can find this information. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe. Share your re-entry experiences and questions in the comments so others can learn from them. Your insights help build a supportive community.